Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today we're working on this Murray Pro Series snowblower. It's got a 10 horsepower Tecumseh on it, 30-inch wide, 2-stage. It's been sitting for a few years. It was donated to me by a friend of mine. Thank you very much, CB. And he said it ran 3 years ago when he parked it there, but he's tired of tripping on it, so asked me if I wanted it, and I said sure, I'll take her. We'll get her going and do something with it. So yeah, it's basically the same type of build as my Husqvarna, or if you're Swedish you'll call it Husqvarna. Anyways, AYP machine or Murray, Husqvarna, Craftsman's are like this too. My Husqvarna's got the LCT engine on it. This is the Tecumseh. So, anyways, we're gonna do a circle check, see what's going on with this thing. I've walked around it just briefly, picked out a couple of things, but yeah. Let me get this power cord disconnected here. Okay, so I noticed that it's got down in there. It's got some bolts in it instead of shear pins. We're gonna have to change those out because you shouldn't put bolts in where shear pins are supposed to go. The oil is full. Well, it's got some in it. It's got oil in it. Oh, that's not too bad. Looks like it's been changed about never. We're definitely going to change on that. We are going to overhaul the carburetor, whether it runs or not. I haven't tried to start it yet. Whether it runs or not, we're going to overhaul the carburetor anyways. I've got my starter cord plugged in, ready. I did pull the handle over just to see if it was locked up, and it spins nice and free, so that should be fine. But I'm not pulling the thing if I don't have to. I'll use the electric start. It's got an NG plug in there. We're going to swap that out, put some new one in there. It's got a piece of wire hooked here. It's supposed to be a spring, so we'll write that down on our list of things to do, and I'll order one up. We'll figure it out. Tires are decent. Chute moves. Very similar design to my Husqvarna. The difference is this one here has got a friction knob on the other side you loosen so you can pivot your chute. But on my Husqvarna, it's got a lever on the control area, and you just push it forward to the back, and it tilts that. And on the Husqvarna, it connects from this hole. There's a spring that goes from here to this post, and that's what gives it its tilt. So, yeah, I grabbed a hold of the augers. They're not flopping around, so it's not worn out. Speed selector, it's stiff. It's a little notchy and stiff. We're going to clean that up and lube it and get that all working perfect as well. All right, we'll get you in a stand. I'm going to try and start it. We'll see how that goes. It might run. I don't know. Haven't tried yet. Sit tight. Okay, I've made sure the fuel is on. I did stick my nose in there, and it's not fresh, but it's not terrible. Should run. I'd run it in my pickup. All right, let's give her some choke. Give her some throttle, just below full. About 2/3 throttle. Prime it. Let's see. Well, fired right away. As soon as I put the choke one knob off, or one notch off, it died. So let's see if we can get it back fired again. All right, so we have an issue with the carburetor. It's not pulling fuel through the carburetor. If I prime the living bejeebus out of it, it'll fire, but it's not going to stay running. So we're going to overhaul the carburetor anyways. Yeah, it runs. So we know it has spark. All right, first step, carburetor. I've already got the ultrasonic cleaner heating up. It's almost up to temperature now. We'll pull the carb off, strip it down, throw it in its bath there, let it have a nice warm bath for a while, and we'll throw it back on. We'll get it running. I'm going to change the plug out first, but we'll change the plug out. We'll get it running, let it warm up, and then we'll dump the oil out of it, and then move on with the rest of the project. All right, so let's jump in, shall we? What do we got? Let's get our kill wire disconnected, just unplugged here. Choke knob, maybe that'll, there we go, that'll come off easy. 2 Phillips here, 5/16 there, should be a little, that one's missing. We'll have to find something for that because it holds the dipstick tube in. A couple of Phillips, let's get these out of there. I've shut the fuel valve off, and 5/16 there. All right. Got to check your linkage here. Sometimes that gets sticky in here. It causes everything to bind up. Luckily, we don't have to worry about much of that. We're just going to take the bolts out of the carburetor. Not some bolts here. There's 2 of them. And we're just going to tilt the carb and get it out of there. Disconnect our primer line, which is rotten. Oh yeah, I'll have to cut a piece of that off to get it to fit better now. Ugh, yeah, that's old gas in there. I think he tried to get running, tried to use it, and put new gas on top of old gas. Because there's old gas here, and it's new gas, newish gas in the tank, so that's probably what happened. All right, so we need our Phillips. Heads of these are boogered. Somebody's been in there. Let's get our Phillips. I like to use this big Phillips bit I've got from my impact driver set, because I can just, it's a number 3 or 4 or something. It's a big one. But I can just put a wrench on it and crack it loose, and then get it behind there and crack that one loose too. It's handy, you can reach in there. There we go. And it is a bolt and nut. You can just hold the nut with your fingers. It's not a locking nut. It's got a little star washer on it, but it's not nylock or anything, so it'll just spin nice and easy for you. That's out. That bolt is backed out. Let's get this bolt backed out of here. Just throw some stuff on the floor. There we go. Come on. There's still a fuel line on the back, but let's get the bolts out of there first. So remember that that rod is on the second hole in. We'll just give her a little bit of a tilt, see if we can disconnect the Z bend. Well, we're not gonna before we get the fuel line off. Some pliers. Get our little spring clamp off of there. Fuel line, a little twist. Needle nose in there. And we should be able to pry that hose off there. Yep, there we go. Now we can disconnect the Z bend. There you go, carburetor's off. Doesn't look too bad here, but I bet you it's bad in there. That smells like new gas here. Well, newish. Newer. All right, I'm going to reposition the camera and get you down on the bench here. We'll tear this thing down and see what's inside that bowl. All right, let's get, I've drained it out. It's just sitting in a little container there. Looks like fresh gas. The jets, I'm assuming, are going to be plugged up. Let's get this bracket off of here. Need to get that out of the way so we can access our mixture, or our idle jet. It used to be a mixture screw, but now it's just a fixed jet that is blocked off with that little plastic cap that flew out. Yeah, there's no adjustment in these anymore. You just remove it and clean it. That's probably else. That's likely also a problem. A little fixed jet. A little wire. Oh, that's not bad. It's going to go in the cleaner anyway. That's that. Out of here, let's get our bowl off. Yeah, it's got wrench bite marks on it. Oh, and it's tight. Way too tight. Main jet. Looks like it's got some junk in it. Let's check, see if that bowl was on the correct position. More junk coming out. Water came out. Well, that's not bad. Not ideal. You want this to be more like this, but that's not critical. That wasn't too bad. A little bit of schmangy in there. Also going to the cleaner. Take our gasket off. It's cracked. It's going to get a new one. Float pin. Float and needle. Actually, it's not too bad, although there's water in it. A little bit of water in there. We're going to see if we can get that emulsion tube out of there too. Sometimes they're hard to get out, and they're plastics, so you don't want to damage them. Yeah, it's starting to really stink like bad gas in here now. Take our needle off. I'm listening for fluid in there. Nothing's shaking around, so we're good. Yeah. Get a different screwdriver and see if I can gently push that emulsion tube out. They usually don't have tiny holes in these ones. And if I just can't get it out, I'll just run it through the ultrasonic cleaner the way it is. I don't want to be too rough with these things. They break easy. They bend. Oh, it popped. There we go. It's not filthy, but it's good that we have it out. We can clean all the passages out. Well, there's some junk in it. Plug in one of the holes, it's like fibers. My hands are so dirty. I'm getting the internals of the carburetor dirtier than they were. Back in the day, when these were brass, there was tons of little holes in here. This has only got a hole, one there, and it's just a straight through. Yep, that'll go in the cleaner too. And speaking of, we're ready for the cleaner. I'm going to hit it with a brake clean and a blowgun first, just to get most of this junk off of it. It just keeps my ultrasonic cleaner solution a little cleaner for longer. I don't have to change it so often. So that's what I'm going to do. Brake clean, blowgun, ultrasonic cleaner. I'll turn the camera back on when it comes out of the cleaner. All right, she's out of the bath and looking brand new. So I didn't mention on the camera before, but the main jet was plugged up in there. I dug some crud out of it with this wire. So I'm just going to rerun the wire through to make sure that everything is still clear, because even in the ultrasonic cleaner, stuff does float around, and you can actually clog stuff up that wasn't before. Kind of defeats purpose, but just got to go over it and make sure everything is still clean. Okay, so new gasket for the bowl nut, new gasket for the carb here. Let's get our needle and float back in there. Needle and float. Pin. Check that level. Looks nice. I'm going to do a test. Blow air in here. It shouldn't pass this way. If I lift it, it should. Yep, working fine. Gasket. I buy these in bulk. Just the bowl gaskets. Don't need to replace everything in here. You don't need to replace the needles all the time, so I just get gaskets. I get 20 at a time. Gaskets in place. Get our emulsion tube back down in its home. Actually, I'll use this. No, I won't. I'll use this. Make sure it's seated. Yup. Like so. Make sure it sits over the gasket. Yup. This needs to be snug. Nice and snug, not stupid tight. So that's it. Our wee jet. And I'm even going to put the little plastic cap back on it. That's done. Whoa, easy. Done. That should run perfect. Get you swiveled around again, pointed back at the snowblower, and we'll get this car bolted on. Okay, so I put a container underneath the fuel hose here and I turned the valve on and I just let some run out, make sure it was just clear. Fuel coming out, not cloudy, not full of water and junk. Let's get this back on. It's in the second hole from the left. Okay, fuel hose. I did cut the primer line back, so the rubber is actually a lot better there. One bolt. The gasket on that is actually still good, so I'm not going to change it. It's all in one piece, no cracks, no splits. This is the fun one, trying to get that nut started. Oh, look at that. Happened first shot. That one's snugged. Got this bolt in. This nut on. Oh, my computer's making noises. Hang on. There we go. That sounds like the intro to a Mix Mowers live stream. That's exactly what it is. Okay. Usually you don't even have to hold the nut to tighten them. They'll pretty well hold themselves. That's good and snug. That's good and snug. Get our primer line back on there. Well, that's much better, yeah. And we're going to turn the fuel on and we're just going to let it fill up, make sure it doesn't overflow. The throttle is working properly. Yeah. So At this point, I'm just going to pop the cover on. We'll be able to tell if that thing overflows. It'll be all over the hoist. That's that. Where's my screws-ins? These two, this one. 5/16 back up here. Still going to have to locate a machine screw to put in the front there. Probably got one in my stash of stuff. I just got to get there. So that's that. Let's get these screws started. Choke knob back on. And the kill wire hooked up. Still got to change plug out, and then we will be ready to give it a test fire. Okay, moment of truth. Fuel's on, hasn't been dripping. Give her some choke, give her some throttle. New spark plug's in, still got the old oil in it. If this runs good like this, we're going to let it warm up and then I'll change out the oil. Couple of primes, ready, go! There we go. Runs good. Does have a hell of a screech noise when I turn those augers on though. I think maybe the bearing is bad back here on the impeller. We'll look into that. It's warm enough now that I'm going to dump the oil out of it. What I'll do is I'll put my little jack underneath the back of it and I'll lift it up and I'll take the wheel off. That way it gives me access to the drain tube here. A little bit easier to make sure it doesn't go all over the place. Snowblowers are so rattly and noisy when they run. It's crazy. I just shut the mic off and let it do its thing. All right, hoist back up, stand underneath. Let's get that oil changed. Moving on. I've got the shear pin, well, the bolts that were in there, I've got them out, so these freewheel now. They're a little stiff. I'm probably going to take them apart and clean all that off, but anyways, I'm going to split this unit because we got a growling noise going on back here that I don't like. Not sure if we can hear it. There is a braking system that stops those augers, and that braking system should be disabled because I've got the belt off, the auger belt off, and the lever squished down, so the brake should be off the pulley. But anyways, we're going to split it. I'm going to take it apart here.